So that mic preamp that I fixed up the other day, the Orban, is working fine. And we were testing the mic locker collection with it, and turns out that this old mic that never gets any use around here actually sounds pretty good on that. But on this side, I had sort of converted this into a more of a cardioid pattern from its natural figure of 8 pattern. So this is a ribbon mic. You can see the ribbon in the middle there, the 2 big magnets on either side. So it hears equally from this side as this side normally. Sometimes you don't want that, so I covered this up with tape many years ago to have it hear much louder out of this side than that side. And I removed the fine mesh screen from just this side. Unfortunately, it looks like the tape left a bit of a residue on the grill material here. So I'm thinking I'm going to actually remove the screen from this side so that I can safely clean that. I want to check that ribbon tension, see how that's doing. And I'll take a look and see if it's going to be possible to remove the inner screen from that side as well, because if I'm going to be using this in a figure of 8 pattern, then I will definitely want the air resistance from the ribbon to the outside to match on both sides. So let's get started here. I'm going to go ahead and remove the screws on the outer ring here. Addie's here as well.
Hello.
She's doing other things.
True.
I set up this streaming rig because she told me she wanted to stream, but so far there's not a single stream.
That's just me?
Yeah.
Well, I did, but I may have accidentally shown the address, so I've got to look and see if I, if I actually showed the address or if it was too quick.
You know, people can pause things, right?
No, I know. That's what I mean. Like, maybe I, just completely missed it.
Anyway. So, even though she has a streaming rig that all she has to do is turn on, and it just automatically will stream, she still hasn't streamed. Oh wow, that ribbon is looking pretty floppity. Let's see if I can turn this at an angle and you can see the bend in it. See how that's curving way down? That's not good.
What happened to it?
Sagging.
Oh.
Needs to be tightened up a bit.
Well, it's been a while since you've done that.
And we need to make sure that there's no dust in between it and the magnet. Blowing on it gently here.
Where's that
Very
little,
carefully so as not to break it.
little poofy thing that you have? That looks like a baby.
I think that'd be a little bit too much air for this.
Oh, yeah.
These things are very thin. As thickness goes, this particular brand happens to be one of the thickest, but one of these days I should probably swap out the transformer that's in the base of this with one that's actually high quality. I know too much about transformers now. Spent a lot of time lately looking into them. Let's see, I'm not seeing a convenient way to get that off, but I am seeing some flathead screws here and here. There's some flathead screws there and there for tensioning the ribbon. It looks like I can, this whole assembly up here, by the way, is called the motor I could remove the motor by desoldering these points.
You're gonna desolder that thing?
Why not?
Seems risky.
Nah, it's fine.
Well, is there calibration that they did when they soldered it, or is it just pretty janky soldering? Or are you just talking about that wire?
These two that go down to the transformer.
Oh. No, it looks pretty janky.
Let's see. Really just want to work on the grill, but I can't get to it. I could probably fold this up without desoldering that. I wonder if these flathead screws are doubling to hold whatever's holding this back part in. Only one way to find out, really. Let's see what screwdrivers we have handy. Little exploratory work. Carefully, of course. To be clear, as ribbon mics go, this is literally about the cheapest one you can possibly get, so not the end of the world if something happens to it. It hasn't been used in years. I've had sandwiches that cost more than this microphone.
Burgers?
Literally. Alright, so those three. Keep the screws in the little container here. Screwdriver's non-magnetic. That screwdriver's non-magnetic. Gonna need a grown-up screwdriver. Ugh. Why? Okay. I know that one's magnetic. Take a slightly different approach. You know what it is? It's
What?
because there's these giant neodymium magnets right there
Oh, funny.
holding the screws in. Yay, I figured it out. That one's already loose. Hopefully that was me that loosened it. I do not recall. So Addie, there's the chat.
Yeah. What's the chat saying? Hi, Roy. Or blur it. Hi, CypherCon. Woohoo, CypherCon! Actually, you know, it's good that I didn't say anything about the badge, because I was just going to say something about the badge.
You can't talk about the badge.
I know, but well, you know,
You never know who might be watching.
I know, that's true.
There's spies everywhere.
Oh, I can edit the video of it online? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Lol, I should pixelate it. Like it's like naughty bits or something.
Oh, there's that little windbreak behind it as well. Let's see if I can get a view of that. So it's got this little protector here as well. So I bent those leads, and I'm not seeing how they attach this. I'm kind of assuming it's glued in. Seen quite a few mics at this point where they just do some sort of two-part or hot snot kind of situation in there. We may just have to leave the finer screen in there for now. Get some of this debris out of here anyway. If I get any metal shards in between the magnet and that ribbon, it's a bad day. Looks like those survived the bending just fine. Drop the long screws back into place. I don't know if I'm going to be able to retension that ribbon without desoldering it though. I may also have to leave it open to clean it because I don't want to leave any debris inside. Hacker's bench in the house. It's like the least supportive community on YouTube. I turn it on, 5 minutes later, I've had multiple people tell me I'm going to break it.
Then they're always pleasantly surprised. Hi, John.
You know, I've done this before, right? Maybe just a time or two. Let's see. What do we got that doesn't suck? One of those situations where you kind of want to use like a little brass brush, but getting any conductive material in there would be bad news. So we're just gonna use the old toothbrush. This will take a little bit longer and probably won't get as much of it. But it's not going to drop any shards of metal in there, so this is purely aesthetics. I don't think the mic cares much that this tape residue is here.
Ribbon mics are so easy to break that they do it themselves sometimes. That's true. They're making ribbon mics. That's cool.
They do break easy if they are of the 0.4 or 0.2 or 0.8 micron variety, and if they're tensioned properly. This is like 1.6 and it's slack. Now obviously you could still break that with just air, but you'd have to try.
Honestly,
You
this
wouldn't
has
do
been
it
like
accidentally.
through a lot and so far it hasn't broken. Not to say that now that we're videoing it, it won't, so I'm going to knock on a little bit of wood here, but just saying.
Oh, that's a lot of goop that came off. Okay. So I'm like literally blowing on it. It's fine. You're not supposed to do that, by the way. Don't blow on your ribbon mic. Don't do it. It's bad news. It looks like they soldered it down though, which is kind of... Normally on the high quality ones, you would have something like some copper tape in this section. And the ribbon would sit on that, and then you would solder to the copper tape. But here, it's looking suspiciously like that ribbon is actually soldered. That should be aluminum, which is kind of
sketchy.
It is definitely bowed down way too much though, as you can see. It's supposed to be able to flex a little bit, but that's good. I mean, that's a pretty serious bend in that, and that's just from gravity. Flip it upside down, see if it's doing it in the opposite direction. Rule out any debris holding it in place. Yeah, definitely. So it's floppity.
Floppity.
Do we have any isopropyl handy up here? I don't think so.
No, but there's wax, a bird without a squeaker, and dog treats. If any of that helps, you let me know.
I may have to go get the alcohol and find some Q-tips, because that's useful for this.
I don't know where all my stuff is.
Alright, 1 second.
Here are Q-tips. Alright, let's take a look at this, guys.
Do not poke the ribbon.
I'm not poking the ribbon. Do you guys see that sag, though? I don't know if Whisker was able to show the curve. There is the curvature. Loosen the top two screws. Okay, wait, let me go back. It looks sandwiched between two PCBs. I think you're correct. I think it's soldered onto the two PCBs.
It looks like it.
Yeah, and then loosen the top
That's
screws.
the case, and this is going to be tricky.
Why?
Well, because normally they're loose, and they're just held in by the little clamp there.
Yeah.
And then you can loosen the clamp and retension it.
Alright, Whisker's back.
It does not appear to be the case here, but we won't know until we take off the clamp. Okay. Let's see. So the ribbon is light enough that if you put a little bit of alcohol on there, it'll kind of glue it lightly into position. You just want to make sure that you put enough so that it doesn't evaporate before you finish your little operation. So I need to be prepared to add some quickly. I saw it move, so maybe we're not completely out of luck. All right. what do I have that I can use to prop it up at an angle? Any ideas?
What?
What do I have that I can use to sort of prop this up at an angle? Like
Q-tips. The modem
something
module.
to say here.
How about the modem module? Oh, hey,
quite
how about
tall
this?
enough.
How about this thingers? It's not glamorous, but it'll work. Flamethrower. Market microchips as a flamethrower.
Okay.
Okay, he says. Oh wait, of course you can hear him because. Durr.
Thanks for being a helper, though. So the ribbon is presently touching one of the magnets. So obviously we'll have to remedy that when we put it back together. Now let's see here. Definitely seems like it's stuck on this board. So it's very well stuck on the clamping board, which is actually in our favor. Because then I can just put some tension on the clamping board when I put the screws back in. As long as there's enough wiggle room in those screw holes, we should be able to get away with it. Okay, that screws down in the pocket now. Be careful not to cross thread it. I don't want to tighten this all the way yet. Just want to get it down there to the point where we can put some tension on the clamping board. Have that tension stay. And then we'll torque it down.
Herder.
Hmm.
Market micro. Just delayed reaction to market microchips. Teasing of me.
This is high stakes hacking. Incredibly fragile.
Alright, what are my goals today? I have to make bleep 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 bleep.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy
This
that
is why I'm streaming fixing mics and not streaming what I'm actually doing for projects right now.
Yeah.
Because we can't talk about what we do.
Ooh, these are cool.
So there's a tiny bit of play here, but not very much. I don't know if I have enough play on this side to really get it any further than that. Do I have a flashlight handy over there? Maybe on my desk?
Look. Yes.
It's kind of the easiest way to tell if you're touching on the sides.
There you go. Don't poke or fold them. Oh. Oh. Wire is telling me not to poke or fold LiPo batteries. I'll try really hard not to. Who's the German? Hello, the German. Do I know you? Do we know you?
Okay, it's definitely not touching.
It's blurry.
It has autofocus. Sometimes it gets confused, but you just touch the screen and then it becomes in focus again.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so this clamp is as far that way as possible. We do not appear to be touching on the sides. So now we try the other one and see if we can move that one as well. It looks like the problem down here is going to be that solder blob is actually in the way from tensioning it further. I can possibly remedy that. Get some heat out. That's something you don't get to see every day. We have to remove this jumper wire temporarily.
Ooh, what do you think if I used craft instead of normal? Like this kind whisker.
Yeah, because I'm not doing anything right now. Yeah, that ribbon definitely moved a bit. Alright, Eddie, what do you need?
What do you think if I use these? Those are cool, right? And it's easy to hand.
Less contrast.
Yeah, I suppose. Maybe these then.
Same problem.
I can use black, but it's better than white.
White's your highest contrast.
Ah.
Easiest to see at a distance.
Oh, how about this one? That one might work.
Mm-hmm.
That's slightly fancy-pantsy.
Are they too wide for the thing they're going on, though?
Maybe. Alright. Cryptic.
So what do we think? Is this ribbon going to fall down as soon as I take this off? I don't know if I can clean that solder off of there with the clamp in place. I can try, but it's definitely in the way. don't suppose I have any braid up here, do I?
Braid, like solder wick?
Mm-hmm.
You should have some on your power supply. I don't see any. Although, do you have like braided wire? Sorry, that's silly.
But no
like
flux in
wire
it.
that's.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, yeah, I suppose.
It doesn't really work without the flux part. Alright everybody, don't let me forget to put that wire back together.
Don't forget to put the wire back together.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, that's loose. Hopefully this ribbon tensions up when I push this piece. If not, there's not much I can do. Yeah, piece definitely is not moving. Break it loose. Doesn't look like the wire is hooked to this end. Or the ribbon, that is. Liquid glue here. More alcohol. Just for the surface tension effect. Yeah, I could have gone and got the wick, but it turned out to not be necessary yet.
Skills. Wait, the German hasn't told us who the German is. Mark says, don't forget to put the wire back.
Thanks, Mark. So now it feels like it's attached to the clamp. Really want to flip this clamp over and see what's actually up. That's what we're dealing with. Could get more tension. If I could move it that way more. But the screws are obviously bumping here and here. I don't know what would be harder to do, cutting these out without hitting that ribbon while doing it, or trying to warm up that connection with the ribbon to move the ribbon that way. That's a hard call.
Hot air, says Mark.
Yeah, I would probably have to use the hot air to do this if I were to try to shift the ribbon position. Thing is, I can't grab that ribbon with the tweezers, it'll tear right through it. So I'd have to be relying on some sort of downward slidey pressure to pull it along.
Why don't you read the YouTube chat, freak? Let's see.
That's
Sorry.
Patty's job.
My bad.
I'm staring at the...
I'm trying to figure out
delicate
something
thing.
for bleep 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 bleep. If you loosen the screw in the middle part, does the whole upper PCB move? I mean the PCB that's still down in there. And why am I typing in here if you don't read it? Fool. I read it, Roy. I said it.
So this bottom PCB here, I think is what Roy's asking about. Let me take a look. Looks like the only thing really setting that one in position is the glue that's holding it down to the Chinesium yoke motor frame thing, because this definitely looks like it's glued. Over here.
Did Whisker listen though? No, not that one. The other end. The other end.
Well, they're the same. This one and this one. They're both glued. I was just pointing at this one because it's easier to see it, that it's glued.
Roy, Whisker says it's glued. I know, I can hear him say it too. I don't know if I do it justice.
Don't pick on Roy. He's trying to help.
Roy's
You guys are mean. we're gonna go with low airflow on the heat gun today.
Thank you, Whiskey, says Roy.
Wow, that motor in the hot air tool is just about done. Not applying heat yet. Sort of getting a feel what the tension is like. Ooh.
A little hot air would break down cyanoacrylates. Oh, yes. Oh, there's tension, all right. All right, says Mark. Video I linked up there looks exactly like that element. Jump to the 430 point. Glued? Ugh. Pickle chips. I don't know. That looks suspect.
So it's not actually supposed to be soldered there. There's no solder under it. The solder is just a result of where that jumper wire up to the top of the motor was.
Dudes, I don't know what you guys have Whisker doing, but that doesn't look right.
So that was definitely effective for getting it released from the clamp. Now we can probably use this to sort of glue it in place. Tensioning it though, it's a little bit tough with the, sorry, my framing was off. So I just used a little bit of the alcohol to glue it in place while I'm working. Maybe if I were to heat this up while putting a little bit of tension on there, I could get this end to stick into that solder. It looks like I can pull on it a little bit. I suppose the other thing I could do would maybe fold this up a little bit. I might be able to pull that off, and then the solder would not stop me from tensioning it quite as much. This is just, I mean, talk about...
Don't see a link to the video. That's delicate.
Talk about finicky. I mean, it's... I've got it up over the solder now, at least.
That's how I wrecked my last pair of headphones, says Mark.
Yeah, this kind of stuff is so touchy. So I noticed that when I pull tension on it and then the alcohol dries, it actually stays wherever it was. And then when I add more alcohol to it, that bond gets broken and it slacks up again. So I'm going to pull it taut and give the alcohol a second to dry, making sure that it's not touching the sides. And then take a look at how well it stays.
Oh, John.
So Addie, what do you think? Is that less of a bow?
A dip? Yeah, for sure. You can actually, here, you can show it.
Actually, if you move it, it'll break loose.
My bad. Woo, that was close.
I know how to put it back to that point, so not the end of the world. But
well, still, let's not say we did. All right, 430. Here is the thing that he was talking about. All right, let me see here. Then they use a microscope.
well,
And the dude's tuning it.
yeah,
We are definitely not tuning it.
that's Royer. They tune theirs to a much lower frequency than everyone else does. They tune their mics down to like
All right.
14
Now he's pulling it
hertz
across.
or something crazy like that.
Oh, they didn't show like the magic.
No, because
They just show
magic at Royer is the
is the
trade secret part.
Oh. Well, so they show this loosey-goosey ribbon. They show someone slightly bringing it over, and then boom, it's already put together. Come on, guys.
Royer is the second best microphone manufacturer that builds ribbon mics right now.
Who's the first?
AEA
Ah,
happens to be run by the guy who used to repair all the RCA mics
nice.
and bought all of their ribbon stock. Oh, it popped loose.
No. Did it detach?
Probably because you bumped it that one time. It
Oh.
would have been fine if not for that.
Oh, sorry.
You're a terrible person.
Do it again. Hi, Gray. I mean, Vi. Vi, Gray. Hello. Telefunken. I don't know what
Telefunken used to make the best mics in the world.
Oh.
Now they make crappy field effect transistor versions of their microphones. Instead of them being vacuum tube. I would run a real EU47 any day though.
Any
But their newfangled U87s or whatever, they're obviously good mics, but
Neumann?
yeah,
Marx
Neumann
is
is Telefunken
Oh.
when it comes to those vintage mics anyway. The alcohol trick is definitely helping though. If it weren't for me being so slow, I think it'd be very effective. Sadly, I don't have the setup here to tune it to a specific frequency, but I think the fact that this is, oh, how do you say, has a big ball of solder right in the way, makes it a little bit harder to tune the ribbon as you would normally do. Okay, we'll try this again. I may actually hit it with some heat this time just to stick it to that solder ball while in a tense position. maybe.
Maybe what?
That may have stuck it in place.
You should clean it a little bit, by the way. It's a little messy.
What's a little messy?
That solder joint.
It's not a solder joint yet.
It's not. Oh, there you go. I think because you're moving it. That's why it's making focus a little difficult.
Well, I don't need focus. I just need to verify that there's no touching.
Oh.
This flashlight is too anemic, I think. I think we're okay. Let's get that clamp back into place.
Are you going to test to see if it works?
Sure. That's the point. I need to do some microphone tests with the new preamp. And I figured while I was doing that, setting up for a studio session tomorrow, this is potentially one of the mics on the list for that session, so I wanted to take a minute to get it looked over. Hasn't come off a shelf in a couple of years, so
Is it not touching the sides?
as far as I can see, it is not touching the sides.
Nice.
Now that's a torque wrench. Using the mass of the item. Give a little blow on it.
Don't forget to solder the wire back.
Yep. So it's still dipping, but not nearly as much, as you can see. Probably reduced the effect by 75%, so hopefully that'll get a little bit more gain out of it. A little bit more accurate frequency response in the low end too. Till a point, if you over tighten them, I think they probably get a little distorted in the bottom. Where'd my solder go?
The Twilight Zone. No pain, no gain, says Mark.
So I'm gonna tighten this down pretty well, just to ensure that when I resolder that joint, that ribbon does not move because of that little trick I used to tack it into place with the solder itself. Obviously that effect will be going away when I warm this up. Make sure we didn't drop any filings in there off that screw. Oh, yeah, there was one. Always worth looking. Okay, let's add some solder to this. Can this mic focus that close? Ooh, looks like it can. Or camera. Nope. Fresh solder.
Aloha AECM. Okay, you gotta clean that.
Clean what?
That side over there that's all browny and brown and stuff.
What?
This stuff right here. That there.
Oh, the electrons don't care.
No. I care.
Right there.
Yeah. Just a tiny bit.
Oh, with the Q-tip?
Yeah, tiny bit.
Talking about the solder ball.
Importante.
This is why our badges look so perfect. That's the level of detail that obsessed Asian girls put into things. If it were up to me, all the badges would come out different shapes and sizes. I'd be like, it's fine. Don't worry about it.
And the bomb would just like
It's part of the
way
charm.
too expensive. And then y'all be reworking till Kingdom Come. Oh man. I may be able to look at these. Whisker.
I'm a little bit sad about not being able to adjust the windscreen on the other side, so this thing's not going to be balanced. I have no idea what the heck that would be for. Addie's being silly over here, but I can't say about what because
Oh my
it's secret
gosh,
stuff.
you guys, it's gonna be hilarious.
Alas. Wow, that magnet is just like trying to slam this thing into place. We'll try that rotation.
Secret stuff.
Yeah.
Boom. I'll not even go through. Let's see. Aloha.
Now, if I were a scientist or whatever, I would have like recorded some of this before doing this and then recording it after, but probably not going to be using the mic anyway. It's just a shot in the dark, so we're not going to get too serious about it. From what I've heard with this particular model of mic, if you go to the trouble of retensioning it because they come basically broken from musician's friend or guitar center or wherever, if you retension it properly and you remove the inner windscreen so that you're not messing it up with all that stuff, and you replace the transformer with a higher quality like a Lundall or something like that, then these are actually pretty decent mics. But after you've gone to all that much trouble, would you have been better just to like send your money to a company who does a good job? I'm not sure. I suppose that's your time versus your money equation. I ain't got no money, but I got 10 minutes right now. Alright, so that's everything that I touched back together. Just going to go around the rest of the screws, make sure nothing is shaken loose over the years. Rattly microphones are no good. I just actually fixed one the other day that was like that over at the American Legion. One of the parts inside was loose in there and it was causing them headaches. Okay, that's back together. Alright, time for me to go set up a test rig in the studio and check this against some violin and see how it does. And so I guess that's it for us. I hope you guys enjoyed the ridiculously dangerous and high stakes stream this evening.
Don't forget the wire.
I didn't forget the wire.
Okay. Mark just wanted to make sure.
Thanks, Mark. You're a helper. You're at Blue and Addie's level of being a helper. And that's saying a lot. Alright, see you guys later.
Ciao.